In this week's video, we're going to be looking at part 4 of our 5-part series in marriage. Is it all of that? I assure you that this week we're going to be going on a rather interesting roller coaster emotional ride as we look at some rather emotive topics, as this couple is now possibly in their second, third, fourth, or probably fifth year of marriage, and find that things are not as rosy as they had planned. As we continue this week, we're going to be looking at some of the things that can happen as this couple try to deal with some of the various emotions that eventually creep up. And some of these emotions are resentments, jealousies, unfulfilled expectations, and actions like infidelity. Okay, we're going to take them in turn because there's normally a natural progression of things. And I believe it actually starts from some petty jealousies starting to happen. And you'd ask the question, why would there be jealousies happening in a marriage? Well, take a look at the fact that assuming that there is a child now in the picture, and this little human is demanding his or her time. After all, it's a baby, and children require a certain amount of attention. The attention that would have been shared with your partner if this other small human being didn't come into the picture. So what happens here is that time has to be wisely divided, and if it's not done in a very sensitive manner, in a very caring manner, one of the person's gonna feel slighted. And I'm gonna say that it doesn't necessarily have to be the husband, even though most of the time it is, because there are some husbands, once that baby arrives, the wife is just not in the picture at all. He just wants to spend time with his daughter, with his boy, and they just have a great time when he's there with them. Nothing's wrong with having time with your child, and you should spend time with your child, as I mentioned. However, remember that your partner is there too. Your wife, your husband is there needing his or her time, especially if his or her love language, as I mentioned in part 2 of the series, is quality time. Both of you need to understand that if the person's love language is quality time, then you have to be very careful as to how you divide your time with that child. A couple of things can start happen here. Things like unfulfilled expectations. Unfulfilled expectations like hoping that both of you would have by now becoming closer, becoming more as one. Instead of that, you're finding that little things start to happen, little arguments start to break out every now and then. Criticism, you're becoming so critical of each other that it's becoming a bit uncomfortable to be around each other. Naturally, this can also lead to, unfortunately, infidelity. And this is where this can cause a lot of pain in marriages, because when this happens, this actually shakes the marriage at its foundation. Why it happens, I really don't know. All I know is that as human beings, whenever we feel slighted, whenever we feel some sort of indignation, we tend to want to get even. Seems to be the natural part of the flesh that the Bible talks about. We need to put under control. But unfortunately, most times we allow our emotions to get the better of us, and we resort to things that are not wholesome for ourselves or for a marriage. Let's look at what infidelity can do to a marriage. Before we go any further, though, into that matter of infidelity, I just want to pause here to let you know that it's not all bad in marriages. As a matter of fact, if both husband and wife decide to work on some of these issues together in a prayerful manner and respect each other and reflect on the vows that they made to each other, I assure you that your marriage can be a very long-lasting and joyful one. So let us go into this matter of infidelity and why does it happen? Sometimes jealousies creep into the marriage because one person feels slighted about time, or not spending enough time, or not treating each other fairly. So somebody, husband or wife, because I need to emphasize that it's not only husbands that become unfaithful. I've discovered in my research on this marriage topic that quite a good percentage of women also are unfaithful to their husbands. There are numerous reasons why a wife or husband can become unfaithful. One of the most common reasons is because they feel as if they're no longer loved or they're no longer appreciated around the home. And, you can list a whole long list of things. It doesn't have to be this way. If both of you sit down and you can actually have a heart-to-heart conversation, pray over the matter, and if it's something that you think you can't resolve yourself, seek counseling. You don't have to resort to becoming unfaithful to your partner. Of course, each person is going to justify the reason why they have been unfaithful, but this doesn't normally help situations. Matter of fact, it makes things worse. So my suggestion is, before it gets out of hand, recognize that you made a solemn sacred vow on your wedding day before God and man that you would remain faithful to each other. And this is not to be taken lightly. There's a reason why a marriage is between two people, and that reason is obvious as you get into your marriage in later years. You're gonna find that if there are any outside interference in your marriage, then this can actually cause a lot of problems. And friends, just for the records, just want to let you know that God has blessed us with a marriage that has remained pure, free from infidelity. And thank God, when we were having our challenges early on in our marriage, and we still do from time to time, we have adopted a stance on coming together, talking, praying about matters. We recognize the sanctity of marriage and the sacredness of marriage, the sanctity of those and the sacredness of those vows that we made on our wedding day. Yes, there are going to be challenges that you're going to have to deal with on sometimes a daily basis. And yes, sometimes you're going to wonder in the back of your head, was this really a good thing? But as we go into next week, we are going to be looking at the joys of marriage as you grow older together, as your marriage matures, some of the things that you can look forward to. So friends, you're going to want to tune in next week as we complete this 5-part series on marriage. Is it all that? And we're going to be looking at some of the joys of marriage. You're going to want to really, really tune in for this, because it does have a happy ending as God really planned it to be. So until then, this is Earl Hendricks. Don't forget to comment and share, and ta-ta for now.